You guys have you guys ever come across this idea that the Earth is flat?
Mate. On occasions that you go around threatening people,
Oh.
okay?
Yeah. Ole, ole, ole. Yeah. Liverpool. Awesome spirit.
Hi boys, what is it? Just the ice are done.
How you doing? How you going? Earth's flat, by the way. Yes, it is. I'm just doing a little bit of artwork for the head of the big game they got here in Liverpool today. So it's a good place to start. But people are, to be fair, I had a nice chat with some 4 lads, but they're more thinking about the game today, to be fair. More thinking about the game. We'll see what happens. I might catch a few. I might catch a few people. I'll start here, see what happens. Just that lady in the blue and her auntie. Just had a nice chat with him. I've had so much difficulty getting a signal for live. Maybe it's not meant to be just yet. I did a little chalking here. I had a few conversations. Now I'm having an apple. Next to a gargantuan building. I think I'm going to go check out that chapel. I mean, Catherine. Right! Ah, give me a wave. She's only 17, the younger one there, and she's a bit of a hurry, but the auntie works in the courts here. And she says, yeah, we got quite a lot of people challenging the status, the free man. They seem very knowledgeable, but it goes over my head, she said. So, just thought I'd put a little chalk down here. It's a bit noisy and a bit hectic in the other section, even though I had a few lovely conversations actually. A really interesting one with a mother and daughter, who the daughter, 11 or 12 I suppose, she's seeing the energy. She's like very clear on this, that she can see us as energy, and has no problem with the simulation type concepts. So they were very chuffed to see this little bit of information. Good afternoon. I'm going to see what I'm going to do. I mean, really, who would build on this scale? What magnificence, a society that would build on this scale. I one does. No one can do this. It's just breathtaking. That looks like a wedding. Two cars, old cars, no. But over there, those windows are all below street level. Now I've just come out from beneath here. This flat section here. Beneath here are large chambers. There's a guided tour now since the nappy virus 2 years ago. You can no longer just go for a gander down there, but the guy tells me there's another deep floor and more below that floor. So they've created a catacombs or tunnels and grand spaces beneath all of this. And, you know, and it is extensive. I can't say for sure it runs the whole length of this, but if you're a betting man, I bet you could find the evidence of it. Directed by subscribers. I could do with a few subscribers. I got £10 from somebody the other day. I forget the name of the guy, so I just want to say thank you to you. You know who you are if you're listening. Things have gone quiet on that front, and understandably so, but I'm hoping that I can offer some better content, new content going forward. The activism, it's a bit windy this side. This, by the way, I will say, I think this is not original to the building. This is facadery. I think this is facade. Sorry about the wind there. But you know, these stones remind me of Letton Hall. They're just not that well put together when you look at them. They're not, you know, they're not quality craftsmanship actually. So I tried to go live earlier, but that didn't work out. Oh, there's a bit of a wedding coming out there. I don't want to interrupt their thing, but yeah, I did try and do some live action. I had some fantastic conversations. Oh, I really did, but not on camera. This again is just pitting, weathering here where the weather catches it and cracking. You know, this you would expect to see in a cement job. So, you know, the idea that this is carved by hand is fanciful and nonsensical. I mean, and what kind of vast operation would be producing all of this material? And not only for this building, but for the many other buildings in this city and so many others that have a similar, you know, time frame for their construction. So yeah, that's obviously the main station, train station. Liverpool is buzzing today. It's festival day for them, football Euro Championships, and let's go. That's a beautiful scene, isn't it? I mean, they were impressive, you know, the people that just I mean, I still can't completely get my head around the idea that these are facades on something else. But whatever the true origin, you know, that people had this level of skill and this level of, you know, quality in building, and, you know, time's gone past. But yet they would not bother so much about that these windows here were in a very uncomfortable, ugly place. Yeah, support is something that you know, we all need, and the few people I spoke to today, not all of them, but a few of them were of that. Oh, that's really cool to hear, and thanks for the info and appreciate what you do. So you know, I want to continue doing what I do, and I know that this is going to grow. I feel like, you know, when I do the flat earth activism, I like doing that more when I'm with somebody else than on my own. It's just I don't know what that is, but I do prefer that. So yeah, as a facade, well, these stairs, as you look at them, are kind of coming apart, and it was something that it struck me about Letton Hall, was that they weren't very well made by comparison to the building itself. Now, there's this little idea that I have that these buildings are reclaimed post-flood, and then they have another flood, and then they have to do some more changes. So like this would be a later change. But yeah, I mean, why do all the dig underneath this? You know, I'm talking, I'm not joking, 30 feet, 10 meters of dig beneath this entire tablet. There's obviously a hole here. I've got the grates over it. Not very well thought out. That goes down, I'd say 5 meters. Hopefully not exaggerating there, but I don't know if you can see that through there. It's pretty dark. But that's 5 meters down there. I've seen a few of these big council type overbuilt constructions with this sort of forgotten corner. Oh, there's a bride. Congratulations. Hope it's a happy life for you and your man. She's doesn't want to fall going down the stairs on her first night with her man. I suppose he could always massage her a little. I don't know what else they might want to get up to, but that would work. Yeah, what a building as well. Bosh. That's pretty cool. Now these pillars, hey, they are cast. Sorry to break it to you, but these are just cast sections. If this bothers you. This had to be shaped and sanded by, you know, they really struggle to do this other than by casting it. I don't know, actually. I'm sure you can get, you can sand these things with, but wow. Such precision comes from molding. And those upper floral affairs also molded, Molding, much prefer that to, wow, the craftsmen were just so incredibly skilled in the Dark Ages. They could just almost magically mold these perfectly the same every time, just exactly the same depth on the dig on the stone. The stone is so favorable. Let's see. Whoa. Just so favorable that we can do that every time. Exactly the same. Where did they get all of the workers from? They weren't workers, they were slaves. This is slave work. Can't you tell the quality? It's remarkable. But why the size, I mean, the size is just gargantuan, This door is, it's made for Giant Fest. I'm not even going to come up to that second thing there, a hinge. I mean, my head will, but yeah, I'm just about the height of that. So why would you make a doorway so large for little people, apparently smaller than me, 5.5 foot, etc.? But they were pious and slaves, all of them. So that, well, I guess we're all slaves now, but there she goes. I don't think I want to watch the broom slip in behind her. I'll have to pan away before this goes any further. Yeah, I think it's Wellington or something. I've forgotten now. This, again, massive column, but it's using the same molding technique, two clad. or to build for the very first time. I mean, that's another debate, of course. There was nothing at all. They just decided to build these from scratch in the 1800s in order to impress the slaves. In the front of this building here, my finger just there, that building there, in front of that is massive holes in the ground. They're just full of crap, rough refuse, and it's disappointing because it's such a beautiful building, but it's unlikely that any entity that could create that wouldn't have thought about the issue there. So, whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to zoom in on that. But yeah, could this be done by a stonemason? Maybe this is even this doesn't really, I don't. Well, I'm torn on this one actually. Could it be a stone? Yeah, it could be a stone. I'm not saying there's no stone, but this is fairly gross, work. It doesn't need to be super, it's not super perfect. Although that does look like it on his elbow. Looks like he got a scab there. And, that, I know a rock can peel like that, but you can say, oh, this is sandstone, that's how it does it. Well, maybe. But it also is a possible clue to technique here. That finger I looked at was broken, and I thought, oh, that one looks a little bit like marble, to be fair. Right there. There's the cracks. We were in a museum or an art gallery section just the other day, and basically all the statues, they were either 18th century replicas, 18th century repairs, or 18th century something else. There was 3 categories of them, and they all had 18th century as their kind of starting thing, which does beg the question. Hey, I know this is really out there, but this idea that this is a Disneyland that gets washed every now and again in order to create a new paradigm for the children of God to come and work it out, work it out before time runs out, if for this current cycle, or work it out and then change the cycle, or work it out and then the cycle has to be changed because we can't know this. If we know this, then it's like, okay, why don't you tell your children that the tooth fairies, okay, don't lie to them about the tooth fairy, but why don't you don't spoil their Punch and Judy show by saying, no, it's just a man with a hand in the puppet, that you're going to take all the fun out of it for them, and here we are in Liverpool today. Beautiful old architecture and facadery, and people are really excited about their day of football, and people around the world are also excited about this game of soccer that's coming up this evening. And who am I to kind of piss on their parade and say, oh no, you shouldn't bother with it, it's all hocus pocus, and it's it's not real. Like, imagine going to Disneyland and saying to all the little children there, going, hey, this Mickey Mouse is just a man with a bit of a drug habit, who works here for $15 an hour or whatever. So that's maybe what I feel today, is that these people are having this really good celebratory day, and I'm trying to tell them that the whole thing's a hoax, and that's really not fair. So for today, I want to try and hit the win. Today I want to try and just focus on these incredible structures and think more about what brought the need to alter them, you know, or build them in this fashion in the first instance. I mean, good heavens, the scale is breathtaking. Is that an original door? Now that I stand back from here, you got to think, you know, these staircases were added on. So were the columns. So was this portico, this whole section here, to cover it up. I can't get into this, but I am going to try and get into that cathedral up the hill. Okay, enough of that. This is the column here in town. Someone apparently got here before me. Okay. Similar handwriting. It's interesting that. But here, this and that, they are remarkable buildings in their own right. Also a little dilapidated. And I'm sure you would have already begun to notice that the 4 sets of double columns here are rather unfortunately covering this beautiful window that's just sitting behind here. It might be open. So look, oh, that's a heavy gate. Yeah. So up these ugly concrete stairs, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you guys. Wow. Hey man, didn't mean to bother you guys. I was just making a little video.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't, but yeah, it's just fascinating here. Oh, you guys, this is literally where you're having to sleep at the moment. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, down there it goes. And then there's that below that grid, there's another 10 feet. Have you guys ever wondered why they build these buildings so weird? Like with all this down...
Because the air raid shelters underneath.
There's air raid shelters underneath. Do you think when they built these in the 1800s they thought about making air raid shelters? They didn't even have planes. Yeah.
Treasure underneath.
Yeah, we think that that actually these buildings were built originally when the road level was about 20 foot lower.
Yeah.
And then something happened to change the street level, and there was a whole lot of mud came, and it's closed off. That's why around Liverpool you got all these windows at street level, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know, you much rather.
Look at that secret door up there.
Oh, I hadn't noticed that.
And I reckon what do you know what them things in the 1, 2, 3, them little gaps, the ones what they're for.
Oh, down on the way down.
Yeah, to climb up.
Huh. Interesting. Well, they could put a scaffolding on it, you think?
I want to know what's in that secret door.
Yeah, I've got a feeling. My feeling is that there's something else hidden underneath that concrete cladding. That's like a cladding that they put on to something that was originally here. And the same is true with all of these buildings, is that they put in the 1800s, they covered something from a previous world because they didn't want us to know when we came back how special we are. Because we're meant to be the center of creation, but no one here wants to know that anymore. Because we've been lied to so badly by our authority figures. There's a door there, and like a window there. So what are they covering? Anyway, I won't trouble you guys anymore. Have a nice day.
And you, sir.
Yeah. Where's that? Okay, here. Look here. As well, this building also doesn't really kind of come up to muster as common sense construction. Let's see here. So that's the current ground level on this slab along here. Oh yeah, I was in this room the other day, so I know this a little bit. But here there's a little bridge that actually goes down in order to get to the ground floor. What strange things. It gets a little deeper, a little murkier, a little uglier. Now this heap of rubble here, you can't really determine that it is, but truly it's just really a heap of rubble underneath this foliage. I just can't think of any good reason why, you know, you would have that. In fact, this appears to be a retaining wall down here. But that pile over there, it's a large burial pit. Whoa, burial pit? That's interesting. You can't just come and dig around here, can you? It's all grade 1. But yeah, the idea that this is a clad goes on the top, and then can you see that flickering in there? That's why you don't want to work in a fluorescent room. Always that your body can pick that up. Your avatar is processing that. You can handle it, obviously, but it's not a good idea if you can avoid it. Windows at what is sort of my street level, so you can assume that the floor for that room is below that sill by 3 foot or whatever. So this is like an add-on wall, which it's in the way of these floor level windows. It's just door level and window level and not that different. But this is added on. This is new. This marble. I think I'm going to say it's a marble that's been machined, but it could be something that went through like a press. It was pressed or molded. That's obviously added on to give them a new doorway. So this could be some kind of original piece reused, but the keystone, that's all quite new. Wow, so this window is now above, almost at my waist height, this window, bottom of the window. And so it goes down, and I think about these slopes like this, like it's a snowdrift, like it's thicker up there. It's thicker up there. They've lost more of this window that you see here, this one here. If we followed it through the building, we kind of lose it after this section here. That window goes away and is replaced with vents and other sorts of things because they no longer had, they couldn't have the window. They'd lost more of the window, I guess is what I'm saying. They'd gone below, the road has gone below the sill level. Yeah, so they've had to, because this is the same roof, but this is new brick, obviously. So that's new, and one skin before that vent there, one thickness. But yeah, I'm more and more sure that these bricks are of the time that we're told. I think that the story of the 1880s and so on is a time when perhaps they could produce things like this on quite a large scale. So, I accept. Well, it may not be that period, it may be a time before that, but I accept that these were put up by some people who were, I think, hiding a mud flood, and then a second event occurs, and then we make all of this additional alteration. I think we've lost more. That this cladding might, in theory, I can't prove it, but at this point, but I suggest possibly the cladding might go deeper. But it leaves the big question, I'm sure, that most people ask is like, why would they go to such trouble then? Well, one, to build these in the first place, and then if they were here, why would they go to the trouble of offering a new facade in order to cover something up? Well, it may not be our people that did this façadery. I think this is what I'm willing to accept, is that before the 1800 window of foundlings and returnings and so on, that these were already repaired, or rather facaded, I should say, by another group. And then when we come back in, it's post that people going away, and we then do some other alterations to some of these buildings, but I'm not. I can't see that in the 1800s there is anywhere near the capacity. You know, if you gathered up all the craftsmen in the country and put them on, you know, just the Liverpool precinct right here, they'd surely be busy still. And yet all these cities in so many places in the world are similarly refurbished, which, you know, really gives credence to this idea that it's like a Disney set, and it's almost a click of the fingers and they can refurbish it, you know, like they do on these Sims games. You know, you can just change the skin, change the whatever with a few clicks, and it can be done. If Mandela effect is real, then why can't it affect material stuff like this? You know, that it has a particular metal framework that isn't going to be necessary for the next act, for the next thing, so we're going to clad it all in this stone, which we can form very easily, and somehow, you know, and I'm not talking about slaves, I'm talking about supernatural something, have it brought together, because the scale of it is just, it's mind-boggling. And I know what humans are capable of doing in the modern time, so I have to imagine what they could do in the previous time based on my half century of experience. And, you know, it used to be more labor intensive, and you know, it was still pretty slow still be pretty slow going. Guys aren't gonna, the smaller men from before, as they tell us, were not going to have been so plenty and so busy, because this idea of slaving 50 hours a week, that's association. All right. You know, so yeah, it's a curious set of evidences, and this one here is obviously not stone, not a rock. You know, I mean, you could say, oh well, it's sandstone carving wood, but I think you know, a cast, you know, thing would show you this kind of thing, whereas a stone would be more hardy. Shame that girl looks like she's putting on false nails, getting herself dolled up for a night of work, you know. It's pretty real. But I guess on a night like tonight, there's money to be made, depending on which way the result goes, I suppose. But I'm really amped about what you know, what we're seeing here with all of this. It's been a few years looking at it, but I missed one of the angles of the sides of that thing. I'm never going to get there at this rate. There's just so much stupidity in this. Can you see the mess down there? Helps light it up so you can. It's not the deepest one, is it? It's only one floor down, but still. And then there are just 5 steps up. It's the lobby. Yeah, I mean, this is typical in London. Often deeper than this. So, window level, street level. So here we have the street rising into these windows. The level of this sill is as high as those before, but now we lose the sill height down. Gone. So this is just aftermarket refurbishment. What a mess. 2 steps up. Goes down. Hello, mate. Look at these again. Excuse me, mate. The cathedral, is that up the hill here? The Anglican one?
Go to that road at the top.
Yeah.
And just keep going right along, come to the end of that road,
Yeah.
take it about probably about half a mile, leave the right in front of you.
First name,
Cheers.
first time we drive to your postcode. You know what, they'll come down and give you a welfare check. Because a girl does that before, she's threatening to take her back over the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, so how much of these originals got lost, and then the higher you come up this street, then I think the more you're losing of the original. So that line there is okay to here, so it's much higher here than I think up ahead. So yeah, it's like the original buildings were built on a, I don't want to say it was flat below, but I think that it was possibly flat because they all end up with the same height. But here, this window, which is a stretch height, and down here, of course, into the basement grill. Well, this would be once upon a time some sort of opening into the original building. I think this is obviously all tacked on, aftermarket add-ons, cracked, not very well done. But yeah, it's a sandstone pressed in mould, and again, the windows don't sit very nicely with this facade. I've stuck my hand in a little glass, but it goes back a ways, you know. It goes back a ways. It's such a thick overbuild. It's really what got me onto this idea of it being facaded. So here's a window, of course. It seemed very close to this window, doesn't it? I mean, what? Does that make sense? Windows going away. You wouldn't want to live too high up this street, would you? So what have they done here? So that's the height of the window sills on this particular piece of the same block, and then they lift the window sills up for the next 3 doubles. So that means that these windows are now proud again. You know, I think you can see the overworking, the conundrum, all because they wanted some coal. I think the coal bunker theory is so laughable. And this here, actually, you can see this has been filled in. So this would be a gap down below into the room below. This has been shut off. Same as that over there. So it's pretty. I mean, really. Oh, we'd like to have a 1x8" pane made, if you don't mind. 3 of them, so we can get this window done. And then if over here we could do a 2" x8, 3 of those, and then a 2.5". No, that'll be 2. Here's a 3" one, and then a 4" one. Now that's 5 or 6. Oh, good heavens, this is such a logistical nightmare. Can't wait until the advent of the computer age when we can just order all of these things online. Oh, look. And a few different sizes here, if you don't mind. These are the typical traditional downstairs 6 inches, and this is a 4 foot, if you're into that kind of thing. Let's see if we can have a peek around the back here. Looks a bit bricked off. Oh, look at that, dungeons. So, these look like private properties. I don't want to be prying too much. But yeah, you know, they've got a whole downstairs now. That's very expensive. Liverpool pad. Noisy. does it. Oh, okay. There it goes down. These battery operated things, they are the precursor to the Wall-E generation that's coming, you know, those that never have to walk. This is, again, just regular construction techniques. I guess they built like this because they didn't have the indoctrination centers, we call universities, that they were using to train themselves, and yet without any central command, central authority to tell them what to think. They all seem to have done the same thing. Create these rather strange basement dwellings, which are hard to maintain. It's amazing how these buildings don't look as old as we might think, eh? Which maybe they're not. Maybe they are, you know, a few hundred years old, and these bricks weathered really well, and so on. Has been skimmed. But I also like this idea that the set gets put into a state of, for a little while, gets put into hibernation, so things don't age. That's the theory. As you can see down there, more of that upstairs, green. Why? Oh, because we wanted to keep the bad guys out. I suppose these windows. Well, what size are these? These are going to be our traditional 6x6, no 8x8 Georgian wire glass, of course. But we won't be needing them for the entire building. If you don't mind getting us some 1x1s again, 1x8. In fact, let's not bother with a window this time. We'll just put a window arch and no window. We'll leave a little hole here for light and kegs, beer kegs, of course, and coal. We're going to put a lot of coal down there as well, so that's what we'll need that for. But just put a window arch there because it looks pretty to be, you know, to have window arches at the street level. It's how we build, because we don't have universities. That's how we build. So you could go up the street, go across the road. It's all over the shop. Let me quickly scoot across the road. See what we can see. Look at the state of this. You know, it's a bit deeper this side. Some kind of wall there, but I don't know when that would have been, whether that was something original. Interesting. That a little higher up the street, I think there's a little bit more of that kind of thing. So this one's been filled in. That's quite typical. Just fill it in, cover it up. Same with this. And of course, if these buildings aren't built together, they've all got to be dug into the ground. You know, how do you do that when you're building next to a building like this? How do you do that? Down there. So, it's not like I'm in denial. I think that it's that people are in denial. I'd rather come accept some poppycock story about how clever people that built this entire section of street decided to build some of it at different levels into the ground. Oh my goodness. What a web we weave when first we practice to deceive. And I think that is probably the predicament the poor boys over at NASA have, is that they're caught in this deception and they have to play it out. There's no reversing out of this one. I mean, they could speak to Elon about one of those special reversing rockets that he has. That could help them, eh? Anyway, I'm heading for this church. I think I slightly keep going. But yeah, down there, of course. Different buildings, those two joined there together don't make sense. Window at street level, window beneath street level. Of course, there's a door there. Oh, well, I suppose you could argue they'd want a door to be able to come outside and enjoy their morning breakfast here, while people throw their shit down here. And that window is obviously useful. Oh, these guys are going for a more upmarket store down there. I wonder if that gives them a little bit more space, or a sense that this isn't just a shit collecting after effect of having to turn this, get rid of the original grounds. I don't know, there could be another floor beneath this. That's what I think. And then here, the bridge to the new door, which is really not much wider than the window, but I think they have taken out more brick here in order to create this new door. Looks like there's a cladding here and it's been filled with a modern prefab box, because that's what we can do now. Again, that's almost like a facade, isn't it, where they've dropped a box into the floor of this. Over the street you'll see the typical construction of the time, underfloor accommodation where the slaves lived. All done by slaves, and then they got to live in the basement for the rest of their days, just in case they were needed to come and knock one of these up in a few days. Well, I'm heading for this Anglican cathedral. Oh, here we go. What's this all about? Damn. Nothing odd about that. Well, the slaves were just having a little bit of time off. They decided to knock themselves up a pyramid. Well, what else can we find out about this pyramid? Not a lot at the moment. I'll tell you online about it, I guess. That's my max zoom. These gardens are locked. Nice, they've been given a day off. Sign writers have been given a day off. So just the usual, normal, what would be in what I grew up with, the contrail. So it's nice. The Liverpudlians have been given a day of sunshine today by the Masters. That's really, I mean, to be honest, it's good for business, isn't it? Everyone can get out and have a good day. So I guess always be wary of give with one hand, take with the other. So good day today. Enjoy it. Let's go and check out this thing. Festive, eh? Fields of poppies. Never-ending war. Never-ending war. The Trinity. Again, another beauty that I don't know, man. The facade is one. On this side is one style, and then through there, you look into the brickwork. That's got that other style going on. You know, not nearly as well made even. This building. Cord, man. Up there, I'm seeing a lot of the flaking that I would expect on a cast stone. And over here as well. Oh, I do apologize for the noise. There appears to be a few people gathered here reveling about something. I can't think what it is, but it appears to be it's a refuse collectors convention. They're getting excited. It's not long for kickoff. It would only take a few announcements from the masters of the TV centre to really shut this down. Can you imagine a year ago people being allowed to gather in such numbers? No way, Jose. But everything's changed this year. All right, mate. Good luck. Just going for a duck. It's lovely to see all these people. I feel a bit of an outsider though, aside from not being a Liverpudlian and enjoying all the day's festivities. See, this is Europeans having a good time. I'm just this guy looking there to see if there's any empties. He might be able to score something. One more drink before the kickoff. Never know. Huh. Haven't really felt like much doing activism on these folks. Maybe it's because I feel like an outsider. I could do with when 2 or 3 are gathered. Was it 2 or more? I heard the other day that the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our trespasses, for they, as we forgive those who trespass against us. I said that many times in my childhood. Many times. So if it's changed, maybe it's a modern thing, but I think, well, I know what I remember. Liverpool. That's not a Liverpool accent, that was more Scottish. Speaking of that, I just heard from Harry MacDonald. John Smith Globeli, I think. I hope you'll see him this year. It's good to stand alongside a guy like that and do activism. It's busy today. Some people have taken out double insurance. I don't know. I wanted to go live, but can't get signal. Maybe I should try it again. So, I don't know, but that's the last 2 sets of face nappies have been worn by people from the eastern section. I haven't seen any others for a while, so that's good. The eastern prison. But they're having a good time here today. Festive, eh? Have a good time. Okay. But I had a few great conversations today, so quite heartening that I was able to make contact with some people. Coyote Ugly. Is that a movie or something? Oh, it sounds a bit noisier down here. Oh yeah. Won't be able to hear anything. All I'm doing is trying to look at the buildings here. Do you mind just keeping it down a little bit? Just for a few hours? No? That's a good look. time. Cool, these guys have got their work cut out. I think I'm going the wrong way for some reason. I hope that these guys win, but then, you know, that means another team and the city full of people are going to be unhappy. Yeah. Good luck, man. Nappies. Pardon me, one of the things I find, I guess the reality is that people just want to get on with life. So, you know, we've been let off the hook. There's a big doorway for this place. Oh, I know that. How you doing? Reminds me of... How you doing? You? How you guys doing? You alright? Speak English?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You remind me of a guy I was talking to in Durban, South Africa a few months ago. But obviously you don't have any family in...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, there's so many places.
Ah, okay. You guys on a strongbow today? You're drinking for the game? Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Where are you from?
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka? Wow, how long have you been here?
21 years.
Wow. Wow.
37 years.
Always in Liverpool?
Oh, yeah.
I'm
No,
in
no,
Liverpool
I'm
20
before
years.
it's London.
Oh, okay,
I live
okay.
in 20 years.
Okay.
I came on
Between is
2002.
Have you guys ever come across this idea that the earth is flat?
Mate. Allegations that you're going around threatening people,
Oh.
okay? Yeah. You've been pointed out as a person who threatened somebody else. I'm going to say to you now.
Have you heard that we live on a flat earth, that the ocean is level,
So, I'm telling you
that the
now.
sea is level?
Yeah.
That we live on a flat earth. We don't live on a globe. That's a lie. Did you know that? You've heard that before?
I heard, but
But like we know that the sea level is the sea level everywhere. You know what I mean? If you're 1,000 feet above sea level here or in Sri Lanka, it's the same height. Yeah, the boat's not actually.
the island, you know.
Yeah, but when you go over Sri Lanka from the east coast to the west coast, you don't actually lose any height. You go up and then you come back down again to the other side. Oh, is your friend in trouble? Your friend getting in trouble?
Listen, we're not having it put or maybes, okay?
I'm asking you to move on now. There's been an allegation made. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to let you go, okay? On this one occasion, but I'd like you to move away from here now, please.
How you going? Yeah? You alright? Cool, man. Hopefully, good game today.
No, listen.
Either way, there's been some form of altercation and we want to try and separate
Yeah, you should look into this idea that the earth is flat, brother. They're lying to us about everything. Everything. They want to control us by making us think we live on a globe, but there might be more land. There might be more land, and it might be that God, our creator, made this place for us, but they don't want us to know that. They want us to think that we come from monkeys and we live on a spinning ball.
Does your stuff, What does yours? Take your stuff. We have to ask you to move on.
Let's just move on.
No.
Let's just
Where's the
move
move
on. That's
Sorry?
I'm asking you to move on.
We
to
have to
try
ask you
and-
to move on. Listen. We have to ask you to move on.
That's a little bit
Listen.
fruity, yeah.
Right, listen, we just want the situation
under control.
to de-escalate.
Right,
No,
okay.
you
If
go.
you leave it, I don't have to touch.
Yes, I'm moving.
If you leave it, I don't have to touch you. Come on.
No, no, we have to
You
move.
go now. It just de-escalates the situation, doesn't it?
15 meters.
Yeah,
Yeah, otherwise,
That's okay.
I'm
You don't have to get
Liverpool.
involved.
I'm Liverpool. Otherwise, I'll shoot you.
No, 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 no.
I just wanted to chat to these guys.
No, no, no. Otherwise, I'll tell you how many meters. How many meters I'm moving.
So where that red box is down there, away from this fella. You go down there, yeah. That, you go down there,
Otherwise,
stay down there. I'll go away
I'm
from him.
sitting. After rapid light, I'm
Sit
sitting.
down there, sit down there, mate. Just move along. Away from him.
How you doing, bro?
harassing him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I just arrived.
No.
No, I don't know. But some complaint was made against him. But I guess he's known around here. Enjoy the game, man.
After rapid light, I'm sitting. Yes, 100%.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Good
correct.
luck.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's all in a day's work here, I suppose. But yeah, this is what I'm saying, man. The globe, we can't live on a globe. This gravity thing that stops us from falling off a ball is nonsense. It doesn't make sense at all. And the idea that we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour, turning, we don't even know we're turning, and that the sun is going, the Earth is going around the sun at like 500,000 miles an hour. It's all nonsense. We see the same stars for centuries, same stars in the sky. But if they were all flying all in different directions, you would not see them again. So no, it's we live in some kind of matrix. And the trick is to try and get out of it, or rather not get out of it, but try and work it out so that they don't mess with you so much, man. Your friend looks like he's having a little trouble with the authorities there. Anyway, I like looking at these buildings. They're very grand buildings, eh? And apparently very simple people made these buildings a long time ago, which doesn't add up. I'm going to move on. All right. Cheers. Very, very impressive. Quite a scale. Obviously things have been filled in here. I assume this was a window. Zoom back out. This would have been, I think, a window before. Yeah. What is this called? Something post office. The Lyceum post office. Really? Really, so you've got like a few hundred residents and you're going to build them a post office. It's like this. And they're not even going to pay a penny per letter or whatever. But it's all going to, because slaves! They use slaves to make all this, you see? Yeah, now we go back downstairs. We're at where are we now? Liverpool Central. I thought it was back to the station, but it's an odd arrangement. Post office, eh? That guy wasn't very conversational, to be fair. It's just, town is painted red. I've done a few of these. Done a few of these here, which it'll walk off because there's quite a high footfall, but I'm hoping that it's like a chalk and drop and leave these around. few of these around, and you know, even if it only catches one person's eye and they do something with it, then that's cool. But a lot of people are just going to walk right over them.
Whenever they try to shut me or put me down, I will be silenced. You can't keep me quiet.
No copyrights, please. I'm just out and down.
Cannon crew, through and through. If you don't like it, then fuck you.
You're looking good, fella. How you doing?
Whose teeth are better? Me or that fucking
Look,
looking
yeah,
good?
he's got some good teeth, huh?
May not read his or fake.
Tell him I told you the earth is flat. That's good, man. As the alcohol starts to take effect, so the Dutch courage will rise, but I'm not necessarily going to hang around for all that. You don't want to be on the camera? No worries. See, even there you got twins. Old school stuff here. Oh, no one would argue that's a fairly modern thing they got going up there. Also with little holes, just like we saw in that column. They're not that dissimilar, you know, and poured concrete. They might have been able to do it in situ rather than fitting it like those other ones, but it's still the same technique. Doesn't look that different. Oh, and surprise, surprise, someone decided to put in a little window box there just in case they ever wanted to put coals in here. Okay, it's going to kick off soon.
Keep it softly spoken, with no strings tying you to me. I'm happy in your company with no emotion, 'cause my love deserves to be free. I never wanna look at a house in the garden, I never wanna lock you down. I know you're not mine, it's just my turn, but we can still have fun for now. Told me you don't really do commitment, trust me, consider your message received. When you said you couldn't take us too seriously, I must admit I was relieved. 'Cause I never wanna play happy families with you, but I like having you around. I'm fully aware this is a flash in the pan, but we can still have fun for